Breaking news. Obviously, this news broke um, an hour before we started recording, and this news has been going on all day.
This could be like one of the best drafts in recent memory, and it's not going to be because of the picks. It's going to be because of all the
Trades.
trades.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the BTR podcast.
As usual, comment your opinions down below because the NBA draft is today. But before we get into that, we need you to hit the subscribe button because you're here because you love sports content, and we got something for you every day, whether it be podcasts, shorts, videos, clips, tier lists, etc. So hit that subscribe button, and while you're here, smash that like button as well.
All right. Breaking news. Obviously, this news broke um, an hour before we started recording, and this news has been going on all day. Like Joven said, NBA draft is today, so a lot of drama is happening behind the scenes. We'll get into the news that broke right now. The deal, three-team trade between the Celtics, the Wizards, and the Grizzlies, which sends Kristaps Porzingis. So I'll just pull it up right here. Boston gets Kristaps Porzingis and 2023 and 2024 first-round picks. Washington gets Tyus Jones, Danilo Gallinari, and Mike Muscala, and the 35th pick, so the second round pick this year. And then Memphis gets just Marcus Smart. This is according to Woj, Shams. It broke Twitter. Earlier in the day, there was a projected three-team trade with, instead of Memphis, it was the Clippers, but that fell apart. We'll get into that a little bit later. But right now, reactions, go.
Initial thoughts for the Celtics. Like it and hate it because I said you needed a good third option and preferably a scoring big. Kristaps is a scoring big, shoot the three ball, right? Hate it because
It's the Celtics.
no. Oh yeah, obviously.
Okay, but on basketball terms.
But basketball terms,
yeah.
injuries. Kristaps is always an injury away
Yeah.
or a little knock away, right? So he is a very good player, but it's the injuries because we know he could knock the three ball. He has good length, so his defense isn't like completely horrible because of his length. But inside scoring should be good because he's big, and then 3-point shooting, which is key because he'll be more consistent than
Let
Al
me check
Horford.
how many he played this year, but yeah, you're right. The injuries is the factor. That's what caused him before. He had an all-star potential year this year. Not saying he should have been an all-star or anything like that, but he was in all-star talks. He had a great year, right? Like this was his first full year away from Dallas, right?
I think
First,
so.
full or second, first or second.
First
year.
or second.
Because he got traded last year, halfway through. Dallas made the conference finals.
Yeah. So it's first
yeah.
full year.
First full year, and he balled out, right? And this isn't obviously Washington's first move. They made the Bradley Beal move earlier this week, but like you said, I agreed with you. I think there were two needs, but I feel like they needed a better big than Horford, and Porzingis is that, right? Horford might be a better one-on-one defender like he has shown with Joel Embiid, but he's getting up there in age. Porzingis is also a quality shot blocker. He's a stretch big. He was literally called a unicorn for a reason, right? Before Wembanyama now. And
You still have Rob Williams.
yeah, so you still have him off the bench, or you could start with him, whatever the
Who's
case
an
is.
incredible defender himself.
Yeah, so let me just see how many games he played last year. Just 1 second.
Yeah, so like Porzingis doesn't have to be the guy. Like when he was in, like he's a third option, right?
Yeah.
Considering that Jaylen Brown is still a Celtic, because
Yeah, we'll get into that side
But
of things
yeah,
in a
but
second.
assuming that roster stays the same as of now, Porzingis is a third option, whereas Dallas he didn't live up to that second option, the duo with Luka, right?
So he played 65 games. That's a lot for him.
That's a lot for him. Yeah.
And that based on the new awards, that's the minimum requirement now. So technically he's up for like all NBA and any awards that, well, obviously he wasn't gonna get on, but for next year, right?
That's a great sign to see though.
Yeah. So, and then his numbers. Sorry, before we continue from last year,
I think his numbers were decent.
He had PER of 25.7, 27.6 usage rate. Kuzma had a higher one. 32 minutes a game, 23 points per game, 2.7 assists, 8 rebounds, shot 40% 49.8, 50%, 38 from three, 85 from the free throw. Yeah,
That is great numbers.
blocks 1.5, steals is 0.9. So he fits that system in a way better than like people said. Oh, you should go after Karl Anthony Towns. He doesn't. Karl Anthony Towns doesn't fit that system. Porzingis does. And then when I saw the trade reaction this morning, or the original trade this morning, that it was still essentially Porzingis going to the Celtics. I'm like, that's a good fit, right? The only issue, like I said, is injuries. But injuries aside, you got to stretch big. You got a guy that could rim protect, right? He's 7'3" for a reason.
And you're not like, you could play him at the 5, or if you want to start like add a little bit more defense by starting Rob Williams or Horford, you could play him at the 4 as well.
I would still.
I know, like if they,
NBA,
you know how they went to the big lineup in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
So like
when need be,
they're
when need
always
be.
there's yeah, because of the 3-point shooting, they could do that.
Yeah, when need be.
Like, it's
But
not
like
gonna
on
be
the
an-
defensive side, I would still prefer him
Yeah,
as the 5.
I know, but like I'm saying, when they could do that, like there was issues because they couldn't hit the 3 ball with the big lineup.
Yeah.
But with Porzingis, they can.
Yeah, exactly. So I actually don't hate this for the Celtics. Some people might just because of the injuries, but I'm not putting the injuries in this because of that reason. He showed last year he could stay healthy, and this time his usage rate won't be as high because Tatum will have the ball, Brown will have the ball. But how the hell did they get 2 firsts out of this?
Well, I guess Marcus Smart is worth 2
No,
first.
no, it's not even just that. I don't know if it's because obviously he opted in, right? So the Celtics are obviously over the cap.
Grizzlies gave them 2 firsts. It's the Grizzlies first.
Okay, yeah. But either way, it's like I think one of the factors that they're also taking on a big contract for the year. So
And they got rid of Marcus Smart.
yeah. So that's what they need. They need a point guard. But in terms of the cap, I'm just like obviously they're in the luxury tax. You're still paying Al Horford. You have Tatum. You have Brown. Brown's eligible for the year after. Not this. Like this will be his last year on the contract. Then he's eligible for that supermax. And reports are saying that he is. Celtics are not willing to really trade him. They want to give him that max. So this could just be a 1-year stint, right? Because Porzingis is on the last year of his contract. And then, so right now their lineup is no guard. Brown.
Brogdon if he's healthy.
Oh yeah. So Malcolm Brogdon, Jaylen Brown, or Derek White, Jaylen Brown could be as well. Problem is they don't have a ball handler either way. Jason Tatum. Do you go double bigs here with Porzingis and
if you
Horford?
go big lineup, you go Porzingis, Horford. If not, Derek White has to start.
Yeah. So, but then you're also paying Horford all that money, right? And yeah, I don't know. I think they have to make moves still. So I don't know if they want to pay that much into the luxury tax. While we were waiting to get started, I was looking at the new cap rules from the new CBA. It hurt my head. Like I couldn't figure it out. So
Too many.
because like all I heard was after the finals, oh yeah, this new CBA will make it hard for the Nuggets to bring back their players. And then you see the Beal trade happen, and then you see this trade happen, and then you're like, what the hell? What do you mean? Like what's going on here, right? But yeah, on the Celtics side, A+ trade off the bat for me because
I won't go A+. I'll go like A-.
But they got 2 firsts. They could flip them.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the overall package, not just the player.
Yeah, so you get like A. I won't give him like the A+. Just because injuries are a factor. You have to include that.
True, but yeah, either way, they could still package those the first they got, and to get in any guard that might be available. And I'm not saying if they somehow get Damian Lillard, then there's
no way.
The cap does not exist. But obviously, I'm not saying
way.
Damian Lillard. Maybe we'll look at the free agents in a bit.
Chris Paul in the vet min.
Yeah, Chris Paul in the vet min, but again, injuries. But he was the perfect piece that we were saying when Chris Paul originally was supposed to get waived. But let's look at Memphis. So they just got Marcus Smart out of this. And they gave away Tyus Jones to Washington. That's a head scratcher. Because you know how much I raved about Tyus Jones being like the guy for the Celtics to get. Like, imagine if the Celtics got Tyus Jones in this trade too, right? Then I'm going to be like, okay, yeah, they're probably the favorites out of the East. Tyus Jones, with Ja Morant being suspended 25 games, who's their ball handler? Because Marcus Smart isn't like a pure point guard either, right? I don't classify him as a pure point guard. Like Marcus Smart fits the Memphis mold, like that grit and grind. That
whatever
culture.
Dylan Brooks is, he's like 5 times better.
Yeah, and he won't piss people off like.
And he doesn't say stupid shit. Like he shows it.
But
he backs his stuff.
So right
up.
now their lineup right now on the top of my head is Ja Morant, Marcus Smart when Ja comes back. Ja Morant, Marcus Smart, Desmond Bain, Jaren Jackson Jr. So they have the past two depoys and probably Steven Adams. And if Steven Adams is still injured, then you can make it even smaller by putting Jackson at the 5, because that's what I believe they started with anyways in the playoffs. Problem is, how is that backcourt reliable? But the question is, who's their backup point guard, right? Because
Wait, you're questioning John Morant and Marcus Smart as backcourt?
yeah,
Why?
just a little too small. Both are not capable shooters, right? They're not like weapons. Desmond Bain is the sharpshooter of that team, that starting lineup. Jaren Jackson is a capable 3-point shooter. I wouldn't classify him as a sharpshooter either. And then Steven Adams is, if he's in that lineup, starting lineup, then he can't shoot for anything. So
Yeah, so if you
if
think
you look at the spacing that way, it's obviously
it's
Ja's
the
athleticism
same, then.
helps.
It is the same as with John
True,
Dillon.
yeah.
It's the same. It's just that the lineup itself is better with Marcus Smart.
Yeah, defensively for sure. Obviously, Marcus Smart struggled defensively a little bit, but for me, is the head scratcher is who's your point guard to start. It is obviously Marcus Smart, but I don't trust him as a ball handler. Tyus Jones has had the lowest assist to turnover ratio in the league. Tyus Jones is a better 3-point shooter as well. And I'm not saying that Tyus Jones should not have been traded or anything like that. I thought Tyus Jones should not have been traded from Memphis. Sorry, I meant to say that. But because you traded him away, and when even not this past season, but the season before when Ja was injured, Tyus Jones was a starting point guard, and they were still second place. The time Ja was out from the suspension and earlier on this year, Tyus Jones was the starting point guard, and they were still second place, right? You don't obviously need an elite guy because you have players around him. Like Jaren Jackson elevated his game. So who is that guy, right? That's where I'm head scratcher with Memphis. I was obviously messaging one of our relatives, and we're having the same thought. Like, obviously, I believe there's a plan, right? There's no way you're doing this without a plan. If you are, then it's just ridiculously stupid. Like, for the first 25 games, are you really gonna rely on that?
What is it like? Marcus Smart.
Desmond Bain could handle the ball, but he isn't like
There is
that.
no pure ball handler.
Yeah,
Plus, you can't really draft one now because you got rid of your first round pick
Yeah.
as well. So because 23rd overall pick, you get a potential starter depending on how he does in like preseason, but you don't have that anymore either. So it legit has to be free agency or trade.
yeah. You want to look at some free agents for point guards right now?
Point guard free agents, I mean, off the top, they're like more expensive ones are like
Kyrie and
Kyrie.
Jordan. Yeah,
There's
no, screw those ones.
there's Westbrook. But
No,
shooting
well,
wise,
no. Yeah,
there's no
can't be.
shooting.
He has to be 6 man if that's the case. So no.
Fred VanVleet.
Yeah, that's a fit. But again, keep in mind you're getting Ja back, so you want like a Tyus Jones type guy.
Yeah.
Like that makes that much money too.
Should we get Ja's comparison to Derrick Rose, but he's a team option.
No, Derrick.
Yeah, but I'll check some more.
I'm gonna just look up at the Memphis roster quickly as well. But yeah, that's the only head scratcher part for me, because I'm like, how are you really gonna play this? Because right now the guards they had last year was Desmond Bain, Dillon Brooks, who's no longer gonna be there. Tyus Jones is gone. Luke Kennard isn't a point guard. Ja Morant suspended, and that's it.
There's D'Angelo Russell.
Okay.
Dennis Schroeder's a UFA.
That's someone. If I'm Memphis, I'm targeting Dennis Schroeder.
Uh,
Again, I don't know how much he's.
Tyus Jones' brother is a RFA.
Well, that don't count that right
There's
now.
Trey Jones. There's Javon Carter's a UFA.
That could be a solid.
Gabe
one.
Vincent.
Yeah. Okay. So they do have options.
There's options in free.
It just depends on how much those guys will command, right? Like because Dennis Schroeder had a decent year for the Lakers, so
Yeah,
he's
he was
definitely
good.
gonna command more than a minimum, right? At least mid-level exception. So free agency wise, like you said, Gabe Vincent. But again, was Gabe Vincent the main ball handler of that team, or was it Jimmy Butler? Right? Because they benched him for Kyle Lowry. Or like either or. I think Strus and Kyle Lowry started, so Gabe Vincent wasn't really the primary ball handler playmaking wise. I'm talking about pure playmaking. That's where I'm like, okay, Dennis Schroeder is someone who should they go after, and he's there defensively as well. And he could be a good backup point guard. He's capable backup point guard. He's shown it with the Lakers. He's shown it with OKC. He's shown it with like Atlanta back in the day as well. So that's someone. If I'm Memphis, I'm looking at Dennis Schroeder personally.
Yeah, I think out of all the lists, that's the
And
best fit.
Same thing with the Celtics as well. I'm looking for the Celtics. I'm looking at names like Fred VanVleet, but I doubt they'll be able to get him for the cap hit. D'Angelo Russell's commanding a lot of money as well since we're on the point guard market here. Dennis Schroeder reunite them again, but he didn't work out the first time.
He struggled.
Gabe Vincent could fit there, but again, and then for me it's like they should, if Chris Paul gets traded or if he gets bought out, most likely because Chris Paul's also on 30 million if he gets traded. So that's the only option Boston has as well there. Like, who's gonna be Boston's main point guard? Going back to Boston as well here.
Yeah, they
have no one now.
They gotta figure out something.
Marcus Smart was a capable one. Malcolm Brogdon's capable. Derek White's capable, but they're
Malcolm
not pure
Brogdon,
point guards.
Malcolm Brogdon's injury.
Yeah, but like
Malcolm Brogdon can do it, but he's injury.
Again, the same thing is who's gonna be there. Are they gonna draft someone with that pick maybe that could help them? Who's on their roster right now for what we know, right? Like that Boston team needs like that what Rajon Rondo was for them back in the day, and I'm not saying to that extreme.
There's
either.
one I like kind of, but he's an RFA, so he's not gonna happen.
But yeah.
Is Kobe White from the Bulls?
Again, he's not like a pure point guard either.
Yeah, no, but I think
combo.
I'm just thinking of someone who get the job done.
True.
Right? Like combo guard, you still have the point guard abilities. He still has the point guard abilities.
Like Memphis' only issue is the first 25 games, then find a capable backup, right? Because there's no way Marcus Smart does not start.
Yeah, they can't spend big. Like Fred VanVleet, you're spending big. Kyrie Irving, you're spending big, obviously, right?
He's not going back to Boston, so.
No, I'm talking about like for Memphis.
Oh, okay.
Like you don't need a starting point guard.
Yeah.
Right.
For them, it's like a bench, but for Boston, you need a starter.
Yeah.
That's equal to or better than Marcus Smart was, and I think they need someone better. But you lose that defensive capability. But Derek White proved that he could defend, so maybe someone that you start Derek White, Malcolm Brogdon off the bench again. Maybe you start both of them and you find a Dennis Schroeder type again off the bench. I don't know about that, but
I was gonna say one, but then he didn't really play much in the playoffs. It was Reggie Jackson.
Oh, he didn't. He's done. Like he's DNP.
He was good a couple years ago.
Yeah, but he's not anymore.
But no. Yeah, Celtics obviously number one needs a point guard now.
Yeah.
And like ball handling.
And
scoring.
they have the picks. Can they make
They have
moves?
3 pieces that could score.
Yeah.
So they genuinely need a playmaking, ball handling first point guard.
Yeah.
Grizzlies just get a backup big. Otherwise, you have the same lineup. Just find a way to not a backup big. I mean backup point guard.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you have the same starting five.
Yeah. Like Boston could still move some
And
pieces.
improve starting five because Marcus Smart is.
Can Grant Williams get a sign and trade and get someone decent to run point for them? Again, I don't think they need an elite point guard. I think they just need a playmaker that's decent. Javon Carter, I don't know how good he is as a playmaker, but he's a good defensive backcourt piece as well. Like I wouldn't mind him for Memphis either.
There's one name here. Is Patrick Beverly. But he's not like ball handling wise. He ain't there.
He wasn't
always, right? But like
he started with Zach LaVine, so he was their point guard there. It was Zach, DeMar, 2 and 3 there. Patrick Williams, I think, started, and Vucevic, and then the point was Pat Bev. So I don't know how much it was shared. Like, yeah, that could be another spot, but and he's like a Marcus Smart for Boston in that sense.
He's a worse Marcus Smart. Yeah.
Or he could fit in Memphis as well.
Yeah, and Memphis as well.
He could get the job. Like Patrick Beverly can get the job done for you until Ja Morant comes back. For Boston, can you get a full time guys? Question.
Yeah, Boston. You need like more of a. You need more of a starter, obviously, than Memphis.
And Washington. Let's move on to there. Unless you want to move on.
Quick point of Washington. You have your 3 best players in Beal, Porzingis, and Kuzma.
Which we'll get into after.
Kuzma likely leaving.
He opted out, but
opted out. But like you would say, he's open, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't have control over him. You're gonna let those 3 guys go without getting a first round pick in return.
They got a 35th pick and a bunch of other seconds for the Beal
trade. So your 3 biggest
swaps.
Your 3 biggest assets are going, and you're getting 0 first round picks in return.
Yeah, we'll get into the Beal trade again because I think there was a little adjustment to that trade. But so in this case, they got Tyus Jones, great, but then they already have Monte Morris. Obviously, Tyus Jones is going to be their main guy. Tyus Jones is going to be hot on the market, whether it be this offseason or by the trade deadline. I don't see them not cashing out on Tyus Jones because at this point, Washington's rebuilding. You traded your 2 best players away, right? Third one's walking away. DeLon Wright is there. He isn't like anything special. Like Tyus Jones is your best guard right now. Chris Paul, but I don't think he's staying there.
We'll just know like whoever Washington picks this year is gonna be a bona fide starter.
And then Danilo Gallinari is probably a buyout candidate after his injury. And then Mike Muscala might fetch you a second because he's a stretch big, like a stretch 4, stretch 5 type guy, right? And again, you got no first out of this. At least in the other one, I think you were gonna get a first. But yeah, it makes no sense to me with Washington.
It's clear that like Denny Avdia and whoever they pick with their first round pick,
Yeah.
it's just gonna be their star duo. Not star duo, but they have to play them the most, both of them, to help them develop.
Yeah. Right now, because like, okay, let's move on to the trade that fell apart now. It's Washington. Fuck Washington. Let them do whatever they want to do. At this
Like we already had enough Washington talk,
Yeah.
anyways, right? Like,
So the original trade was Clippers are gonna get Kristaps Porzingis. Sorry, Celtics were gonna get Kristaps Porzingis. Clippers were gonna get Malcolm Brogdon, and the Wizards were gonna get Amir Coffey, Marcus Morris, and the 30th overall pick. So this trade fell apart a couple of hours before the Grizzlies one went through, and the reason why it fell apart mainly was because the Clippers didn't trust Malcolm Brogdon's health. So that's why it factored out. As you could tell, the Celtics and Wizards still wanted to make a trade. But yeah, so in this case, you were gonna get the 30th pick, which is still a first round pick.
just a quick point about the Wizards. At least they did good enough to get off the cap.
So here's my thing. The Wizards, I'm gonna go back to that. As much as I hate, it's a new management team right now, I think. So they're correcting a mistake. So I'll give them credit for that, right? But that was the original trade. There's nothing to talk about.
Original trade, like Clippers made a good decision because your
But if they-
two best
It's
players.
a risk.
Your two best players are injury prone.
Yeah.
Why are you gonna add another injury prone guy? Right?
I mean, they might get Chris Paul, which we'll get into a second. But yeah, there's no point dissecting this trade because it's not going to happen. But that's that. But speaking of Washington, let's go back to the Beal stuff quickly. Couple of points I want to bring up to you. Let me just find it right here. First of all, do you know that Bradley Beal is one of the few players that has a no trade clause in history, not just the NBA?
Actually,
Yeah.
Wow.
I was listening to it, and they were
wow,
saying that
Wizards.
it's completely different from the NHL. Like, it's completely different from the NHL.
Yeah. The
NHL, like, everyone has like no move clauses, no trade clauses, limited trade clauses. Like Tyler Myers and all these guys have it, right?
But they're like for like half the teams. Or
Like
something.
Damian Lillard doesn't have it.
It's wild because
Bradley Beal somehow had a no trade clause.
they give him like everything.
LeBron didn't have one apparently. AD, Giannis, and all these guys.
They don't have no trade clauses.
I'll fact check that, but that's what I heard. So the fact that if it was the previous management that gave him that,
So you just lost all control
you lost all control.
and all leverage, whatever it came to moving Bradley Beal.
NBA players with
But no, like the Wizards, if it's a new management team, obviously they're doing good of offloading.
they're
contracts.
actually they're picking a spot what they want to do.
They're like they have a direction. They
Yeah,
have a
they have a
focus. They
direction,
have a
yeah.
focus, right? And that focus is rebuild because now they cleared up what around 60 plus like another like 25, 30. They got like what around 90 million cap space, right?
Yeah.
So then you still have your first round pick, and then Tyus Jones could obviously be a good flippable piece. So the Wizards are making moves. I'm not gonna obviously, like you said, you're not gonna blame the new management because like they were handcuffed because.
So I'm gonna cut you
But
off.
I'm
gonna cut you
but
off.
like to quickly finish, I just because I said this in the last pod, I just felt like they could have waited a little bit longer. Like they didn't have to rush the Suns trade, in my opinion. Like
I feel like if the
do you think they should have waited till free agency for that?
it's tough because we don't know what's happening behind the scenes.
Yeah, right.
Like we don't know what the market is. We don't know what the case is. By the way, he is the only one in the NBA right now with the no trade. So yeah, the Wizards screw themselves even more. Right? You could have easily traded him before, like I said last time, but we're not gonna get into that. You guys could watch the last pod about our original the Bradley Beal trade then. But yeah, I don't know. I thought they should have waited till tomorrow or today. But I guess there was a trade that they couldn't pass up on. But yeah, we'll get into more of the Bradley Beal stuff. I do have stuff about that because your Raptors were involved. They were making calls.
Let's just get into it right now then.
Sure. Let me just pull it up here. I have it screenshotted. There's so much going on, bro. That,
There's
like,
actually a lot, right? Because it's draft period and obviously a couple weeks.
dude,
not
the
even,
season ended not like what, a week and a half ago.
and we already got like enough.
So
like,
the
a lot
Beal
of news.
stuff. This was the trade, the final trade.
Yeah.
In addition to Bradley Beal and Jordan Goodwin added, the Wizards are including Isaiah Todd as well. in a trade with the Suns. Todd, who was a 31st pick in 2021, mostly played in the G League. Yeah, so that's that. Toronto Raptors made calls on Bradley. So that was the final trade, essentially. Toronto Raptors made calls on Bradley Beal. DeAndre Ayton was requested by Washington in the Beal trade, but the Suns declined to include him. Why would you? If that, why would you? Why would you include him? Might as well trade him for some other better piece.
Yeah.
Sacramento Kings were unwilling to trade Keegan Murray. Obviously, why would you?
Yeah, we traded Halliburton before.
Yeah. So and then I saw stuff like Miami wasn't really fully engaged, which I'm disappointed in Miami about. But yeah. So that's the Bradley Beal stuff. You want to head into the draft, or do you want to head into? Let's head into the draft because that's
Let's
the
go to
main
draft.
topic.
That's like NBA draft.
All right, so let's just look at the mock quickly. We're not draft experts.
I'm gonna ask you a big question
1 second
right
though.
now.
We're not disclaimer. We're not draft experts. We know nothing. We listen to people that know draft stuff, and we'll base it off that. We'll say, for example, Raptors fan over here. He'll explain what type of player he probably wants. I'm a Lakers fan. I will explain what type of player I want. We'll see if that player turns out to be that. But yeah, so if you're here for draft coverage, not the place, but we'll just quickly talk about some mocks. But go ahead.
Who will be the number 1 overall pick?
Number 1? The question is who's going to be number 2? Because there is a report. Well, number 1, Victor Wembanyama.
Obviously, number 1 is like been locked since last year.
The minute he was announced. Here. You want a spoiler? It's not really it's not official or anything.
A spoiler, like nothing even happened yet.
Well, according to Woj, Brandon Miller further solidified his standing as Charlotte's choice at number 2. Both Miller and Scoot Henderson came back to Charlotte for second workouts. Miller was better the second time around. And Jordan is still a minority owner. He apparently has final say in this. Yeah, so the draft, let me just pull up some mock draft. So even the mocks are having it like, this is a Bleacher Report, that obviously Vic is going 1. Brandon Miller is going 2. Scoot Henderson is going 3. At the beginning of the year, it was Scoot 2. And then Eamon Thompson, half of the
Thompson
twins is going 4. Like those 4 are like, it's like kind of like
his top 4 is locked, but 2 and 3 could always.
But I could see like they're saying that it's not really locked with 4 downwards.
Yeah.
2 and 3 are interchangeable, and then unless some surprise happens, and you know what? One thing I want to see is if any team does what the Canucks did with the Sedins, get the twins together.
Yeah, right.
But that'll be interesting to see because there's also rumors that San Antonio might be looking to trade into the lottery because Victor's Wembanyama's teammate is also like a top 10, 11, 12 guy in this draft.
Oh, that's sick.
His name is Bilal Coulibaly.
Coulibaly?
Yeah. He's projected to go.
No relation to a soccer player?
No. But someone starts with a C.
Oh, okay. Then.
Yeah.
Like for me, Charlotte's interesting. Reason being that like they're gonna have no matter if they pick Scoot or Brandon Miller.
I think they need to go Brandon Miller.
I think they need to go Brandon. Yeah, because you have LaMelo Ball, but I won't be mad if they get Scoot because of obviously best player available, good backcourt pairing. It'll be a good backcourt.
It's tough because like I don't know what Scoot's defensive capabilities are. LaMelo's are.
Yeah, no, but like if you're just looking at it like as talent wise, it's gonna be a good backcourt ability, right? I'm not looking at fit too much because I obviously, like we said, we're not like too familiar with the prospects.
I feel like
obviously.
the fit was better if you get a
obviously but I'm saying like no matter what happens, you should have assuming Scoot or Brandon Miller play up to expectation.
Yeah.
Like you should have a good dynamic duo. And then isn't Miles Bridges coming back as well?
He's rumored to, but I don't know if he's like contracted with them.
Okay,
I don't know that.
But that's what I'm saying. Like Charlotte's in a good spot because I don't think they could really go wrong. Obviously, for me, it has to be Brandon Miller.
Yeah.
Personally,
they have pieces to trade. Like Terry Rozier, is linked to places. Like he could go back to Boston maybe.
Yeah.
There's what's his name? Gordon Hayward. I think on the last year, as well. He could be on the move. Buyout candidate as well probably. So they have pieces to move. They got young. LaMelo's coming back healthy now, right? And then, like I said, like I agree with you, Brandon Miller should be the pick just because let LaMelo flourish as like the lead guard and find someone that could
just complement
LaMelo style, and they have Mark Williams over there as well.
They
As a
have
big
Mark
man.
Williams. They have PJ Washington still,
Yeah,
right? So like they still have decent pieces. And then Charlotte, like other than this year, like the last couple of years, they've been in the play-in spot, too, right?
yeah,
They're like in the 9-10 one, and they usually lost first though.
yeah. Um, Another team I'm interested by, is Orlando. They got 6 and 11.
They got 6-11.
6 and 11. So can they package that and move? They have enough guards, but according to this mock draft that I'm looking at, is Anthony Black from Arkansas, who's a point
Yeah.
guard, shooting guard, anyways, and it's number 11 is Grady Dick from Kansas,
And what is he? A center?
small forward.
Small forward. Okay, I was way
So
off.
him and Paolo as your future like forward duo. The question is, can they package someone? Can you package one of those picks to get maybe a guy right now to help them, whether it be like a center or a guard? Because right now their center is Wendell Carter Jr.
Can you also package those two to move up to number 3?
True. Then obviously you got,
If no,
but they
I
got
would
Suggs and
yeah,
Hampton and all
I
these
would do
guys
that.
too.
If Brandon Miller is available, then they just should do it.
Yes, I don't
Because
think
they
should
don't
go
need
for
they
guard.
don't need more guards. Like
Like
they have
Suggs is
Suggs,
struggling. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, if Scoot's there, you might as well too, and figure out.
unless you package up like
Yeah.
Cole Anthony, Hampton,
Well,
or
Hampton's
Suggs.
like not their main guy there, right? So, I mean, it's Orlando. Like I don't know much that happened there.
They have a bunch of guards.
Yeah. So that's the team to look out for. Houston. There's rumors.
They're at 4, right?
Yeah. So there's rumors that they're trading for. That could be trading for. Harden might be coming back. So because of that, guys like Siakam, guys like Brown, Middleton, all these guys are linked to go to Houston. So maybe that number 4 pick is in play. It's Amon Thompson, who's pretty good.
He's a
He's
point.
not a
He's a
shooter.
guard, right? He's a guard combo.
Point guard, shooting guard, playmaking and defense are the selling points. Question is, his shooting is mainly his question according to this. Yeah, so that's that one, and the last one. Let's get into it because we got to talk about Dame. Portland.
It's obviously for me, obviously, draft starts at 2, like pick wise.
Yes.
But like if you're talking about like breaking news, it starts at 3.
So
Obviously, hopefully, it's not anticlimactic and like nothing happens.
So Dame has made it clear that he wants to compete for a championship, and he wants to continue and wants a roster that can get him there. He wants that now. He does not want to wait. He does not want to go to a rebuild. Doesn't want to continue playing with younger guys to help. Blazers are showing no interest in dealing the number 3 pick, but at the same time, Dame Lillard doesn't want to leave Portland either. But Portland also has 23, so Portland are dangling with the 23rd pick to see what could they get for that instead. And there's also a report I saw today that Dame Lillard is meeting with Scoot Henderson. So who knows what's happening there? Maybe you package 23 and Anthony Simons to get maybe an OG Anunoby, for example.
Yeah. So like, one thing I was thinking of, like, if getting Scoot Henderson would, like, say if Damian Lillard didn't say anything, like say Dame was either like it was a question mark that he was gonna stay or go, right?
Yeah.
If they got Scoot Henderson, would that have been an indicator that Dame was getting traded?
Well, they're clearly the way the reports are going. Portland is looking like to package those two as the backcourt. Damian Lillard, like we had that loyalty talk. Don't get me wrong, I would love to see Dame win with Portland. If like I said, this is from an NBA fan standpoint. But how long could you go for it, right?
Yeah.
If I'm Portland, trade Dame. You're gonna get picks. There's no trade clause bullshit on him. You could trade him to a team like Philly or Milwaukee or wherever, right?
Miami.
So you could get picks. You could get some young pieces or whatever is there in return. Build around Scoot. You have Anthony Simons. You have Shaden Sharp. Just go. I understand. Clearly, ownership is looking at money there, right? Clearly, there's no other thing. And I get it. It's a business. You want your biggest draw, obviously, to get your selling point. It's a business. Like, that's your selling point. But if I'm also Dame, how long are you going to say this for? Right? You're loyal. We get it.
You're already in your 30s.
Yeah. So, like, you can't keep saying, oh, I'm not. If they want to trade me, I'm fine with it, but I ain't going to request one. And then come out and say, I'm not happy with, I want to get traded. Because if you trade that 3, for example, they trade 3rd for Siakam. How much do they really get better with that?
They get better.
But are they title favorites? No.
They should be in the playoffs.
They should be in the playoffs, but they're not title favorites.
They're not title favorites. Yeah.
Right? If you trade that for Brandon Ingram, not title favorites. If they trade that for like DeAndre Ayton, not title favorites. Right? So there's the only name that's intriguing that I saw. There's two names, which we'll get into now, is Paul George is one, because Clippers are fielding calls for Paul George. Not fielding calls. Like there's reports that NBA teams believe that Clippers might be fielding calls for Paul George.
They're gonna break the duo.
Yeah, they might look to break up that duo. And then the other one is Zion Williamson, New Orleans. Because New Orleans is reported trying to trade up to 2 or 3 to get Scoot. They're in love with Scoot. And so that's where the Dame thing, that's where it's frustrating. Like I said, I hope they could get a team around Dame, but it doesn't look like it's happening. No free agents going there. Like Dame has a huge cap hit himself. So who are you gonna trade on your roster to bring him in that matches the cap hit as well, right? The new cap, the CBA, depending on how this luxury stuff works, we'll look into it when free agency starts, because all I see is like the luxury tax is higher, and then it will go higher and higher the higher the cap goes as well. So at this point, this whole Portland Dame saga, I'm tired of it. I don't want to hear shit of it. Make a move or don't. Just shut up, right? Like you're saying all this, but you're saying I'm not going to leave then, right? If they pick 3 and 23, I better get a notification saying Damian Lillard has officially requested a trade. Because if you don't, then what's the point of you saying I don't want to play with these young guys, and then you're going to go back and playing with them anyways? Like, what's the point of that?
Just get out, right? Yeah,
just get out.
Like,
people have done it. Like, we've had the loyalty overrated talk.
Yeah,
right?
Like people leave. Like you said yourself, you want to play for a contender. You make the 3rd pick, you make the 23rd overall pick as a Portland as an organization, you ain't contending. Especially with that West, especially with that Suns trio, the Denver Nuggets obviously, and then freaking obviously the Memphis Grizzlies probably should be a playoff team, and Mavericks are always in the Hunt, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Like there's bunch of teams in the West that will be like what was the thing? There was like a point in time where 3rd place and like 12th place were separated by like 5 games.
It wasn't even less. It was less than that at one point.
Yeah,
like, as the season went on,
the
obviously
thing is,
it went bigger.
the West is competitive.
Yeah.
Right? You want to play for a contender, you have to leave, or you have to make Portland package those picks and get someone sick.
And Portland is reluctant on packaging that.
Exactly. Then what is Scoot Henderson ain't gonna save you?
Even
Scoot Henderson's not gonna put you in the freaking title contendership.
Even if I'm Portland, like think about it logically. You pick Scoot. He's potential superstar. I'm not saying he has superstars,
but he's not doing that year 1.
No, but my point for the future, you could sell that to the fans for the future, right? Damian Lillard will have his fans wherever he goes, for sure. Like Portland's gonna support Dame like they have done it, but how long? Like, and I get it, it's a business, but I'm sure if Dame puts a request in, it's a player. NBA is probably the most players league I've seen.
Yeah, because
where
there's
people
a lot
want
of
to get their way out. Yeah,
like what? Ever since what? 2018 to now.
Yeah,
you'll be like, bro, this is a completely different league.
Like, okay, how much is Bam Adebayo gonna make you better? Like, Jake Fisher, the Blazers are prepared to make a significant offer for Bam Adebayo to the Blazers. He's not a scorer. Or like he's an elite defensive player. Then you need to put guys around them. Or Damian Lillard likes the idea of Zion Williamson. I do too. Is Zion gonna play?
That's a question mark.
There's so much shit off the court that's happening with him. I don't want to get into it. I don't want to get into people's personal lives. I know it's out on the internet about his baby mama situation, but that's like we're not gonna get into that. But like, is he gonna be on the court? Right? Like, there's reports. Like, people are thinking. Like, let me pull up the Zion stuff now because we might as well transition. There is, do I even have right here? People around the league expect the Pelicans to move Zion Williamson by the draft. This is by Bill Simmons. I don't know how legit this is by Bill Simmons. He's a known guy, but still. The Zion thing is real subplot. I had somebody tell me yesterday that I trust that he will not be on the Pelicans by Thursday. Okay? The Blazers, obviously, I said they prefer Zion over Brandon Ingram. That's a good duo, but is Zion going to play? Recent off-court events surrounding Zion Williamson have shocked high-ranking members of the Pelicans organization. High-ranking members of the organization have been dismayed by recent off-court developments around Williamson, as other outlets have noted. So they're questioning his seriousness of the game, and they're questioning his is he really trying to be healthy, right? So he doesn't come across a guy to be like that, but clearly it is.
It's shown like he hasn't been like weight's been an issue for him, right?
Yeah.
Injury's been an issue. They correlate, right? Weight and injuries are like one thing. They're a part of health, and he hasn't done anything to fix that. What do you call it? Last year, it felt like he came back fatter, in my opinion,
Yeah.
right?
He was still like
And he was still like
he's still
athletic as
putting up
hell,
60% field goal percentages.
and he's still
He was an
producing.
all-star starter this year, I'm pretty sure. Before he got like he couldn't play.
Bro,
for
like
injury.
I'm saying, the only person, like no, there's no one like I've seen that big stay
At
on that
6.
court. The closest person I could say was Shaq, but Shaq still looked like fit when he was
Early
playing.
on Shaq,
Yeah,
yeah.
early on
But
Shaq.
yeah.
Obviously, like later on.
Yeah, no, it's this. It's mind-boggling. Like that's what this draft is so intriguing because you're hearing reports that Zion Williamson might get traded.
The number,
I don't know how much of this is drama by Zion to get the hell out of New Orleans.
yeah, but like Zion Williamson was the last before Wembanyama. Zion Williamson was the last clear-cut number 1 overall pick,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So you're like, what? It's been 4 years. Pelicans will be trading 2 number 1 overall picks.
Like that was their main piece. When they traded Anthony Davis away to the Lakers, they won the lottery.
Yeah.
Pelican
So-
fans were on in the Laker fans mentions in the beginning of the year when the Lakers were shitting it. Haha, we're gonna get your pick because it was supposed to be the first overall pick.
Yeah.
Guess who made the playoffs and who didn't, and guess whose star player is not playing.
Yeah, no, what I'm saying, the Pelicans are going to be trading their 2 number 1 overall picks within 4 years.
Yeah, if it comes down to that.
And it's not even the Pelicans' fault. This is a Zion issue,
Yeah,
right? Like, I can't blame the
on the
Pelicans.
surface, yes, it's a Zion issue. Again, behind
Yeah, no,
this is
we don't know
assuming-
what behind the scenes. I'm saying what I have.
Yeah.
Because no one knows what shit going on, right?
Yeah.
Like, everyone does that. Well, from what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing, this is a Zion issue.
Yeah,
This is not like, can you really blame the Pelicans? So if I'm on the Pelicans, obviously I'm going to move him.
yeah, because he's not on the court. It's like this injury convo is tough, and we always have it with our cousins, like the Anthony Davis stuff, with Kawhi Leonard, with whoever else is out there, like usually injury prone. Like he's a young guy. You wouldn't realistically trade him unless he comes out and says trade me, right? Which is again, it's a players driven league. I don't know how much of this is a show. Like I'm not showing off fit or whatever the case is, because that Pelicans team is nice when he's healthy and playing.
It is
Right?
good.
You give them a proper point guard as well. You're telling me you do like they were first place before he got hurt.
Bro, remember the time when they got CJ McCollum and they took that number 1 seed Suns team, which was like last year, right?
To 6 games, I think.
To 6 games without Zion,
Yeah.
right? Like CJ said himself, like, bro, wait till we get Zion at that time too.
Yeah. It's
They're a good team. Is just like, I don't understand like how he's not on the like. What was the thing? They're like his injury shouldn't be taking this long, right?
that's what they said. Now again, everybody's body is different. Like clearly Zion's body is not any typical body at 6'6", but
But it's not like your team like it's not like you're getting shut down because your team is shit. Your team was contending.
yeah.
Like, your team was still mid the play-in spot.
Yeah, so I don't know. That's why like this draft is intriguing to me because what the hell's happened, like you mentioned, with Dame and Portland? What's gonna happen with Zion? Are they gonna really trade him for Scoot Henderson if he becomes available, or is Brandon Ingram on the move? Cause I don't know. Like, are you gonna
Like
reunite?
the thing with this NBA draft is unlike the NFL draft. And NFL draft there was uncertainty with picks.
Yeah, the
right.
top. Like you don't know which quarterbacks
With
and
the
all that
top
were
3,
going on.
right?
Yeah.
This is not like top 3 is clear what it is. It may be a different over. Obviously 2 and 3 could obviously flip, but the drama on the outside with Portland, with the Pelicans, with Clippers potentially trading Paul George,
Yeah.
right? There's a lot on the outside, and it's gonna be so disappointing if nothing happens tomorrow
Like if you're
or today.
If you're looking at the I was going to say Eagles. If you're looking at the Beal trade, the Suns, they went out and did something. Now other teams have to reflect on that because at the end of the day, in NBA, I believe talent does prevail at times depending on how you surround it, right? Then if you look at the Celtics, they made a big acquisition today. So teams like the Bucks, teams like the Sixers, these also are gonna have to make moves, right? So we're hoping for that. So it's just at the end of the day, that's why it's intriguing to see because this free agency class is not great, and there's reports that the trade market might be insane because of that, right? Like, yes, you have Kyrie Irving, James Harden, all these guys available, but like realistically, it wasn't like that draft class when Kawhi was available.
The free agent
Yeah,
class.
that free agency class with Kawhi
It
going
was
to the
like
Clippers,
Kawhi, Kyrie, Jimmy Butler,
Paul George trade happened.
Paul George trade, Kevin Durant.
Yeah, AD trade. So
I'm pretty sure Kristaps was one then too. Porzingis.
yeah, no, it's yeah. I don't know. Let's just
Yeah, because of that, like it should just be so like dead tomorrow if no trades or anything happen.
so
Like you expect something big to happen today,
yeah.
right? So it's me just so disappointing if nothing happens.
So you know what? Let's transition. We're on the trade topic of the draft. Um, let's look at some potential trades. So this is from Bleacher Report. Andy Bailey. Realistic NBA draft night trades and one 3-team doozy. All right, the first trade is Chris Paul. So back to the Beal thing. Chris Paul is linked to the Clippers. So they're saying Chris Paul to the Clippers for Eric Gordon, Robert Covington, the 30th pick, which, yeah, 30th pick because that was I forgot that was originally in play. To the Wizards for Chris Paul. Right, makes sense. Let's see. You know, if you're the Wizards, you need a first round pick somehow.
Yeah, if you get that, do it. But how? Like, but what are the chances of Chris Paul getting bought out and cut as well too? Right.
It depends on how many people are really going after Chris Paul.
That's
It's still
true.
Chris Paul. He's still a great leader on the court
Yeah.
and off the court. Second one, Jordan Poole to the Magic. Gary Harris and a 2025 first round pick via Denver to the Warriors for Jordan Poole. How much of this is just getting off the contract?
That is that.
Because even Gary Harris is making money as well, but Gary Harris is, it's a win now move, if anything. You're getting a first round pick in return. In 2025, you could package that for something else. Package that with Kuminga or whatever. But yeah, that's the trade. Warriors fans, you guys comment down below. What do you think about that one? Damian Lillard to the Heat. Here we go. Tyler Hero, Kyle Lowry, number 18, first round pick in 27, first round swap in 28, first round pick in 29 for Nurkic and Lillard. Well, if I'm Miami, instant yes.
Nurkic and Lillard?
Yeah.
They got Nurkic in there as well?
I got Nurkic on the last year of his deal, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, wow. So then you could have Nurkic and Bam.
Or you could put Nurkic off the bench.
Yeah.
Because they need a big. Even though Nurkic is not no defensive guy, there's a reason why they traded him instead of Jokic. But
Yeah.
and then obviously this is Damian Lillard. I'm Miami. I cannot stay pat. Like there's a report out there that Pat Riley's happy with running it back. You can't after what Boston just did, right?
Denver just did.
Huh?
Oh no, you talk about like Boston upgrading.
Yeah.
But I'm saying you can't do that with what Denver just did to you
and then what
final.
Boston just did, and then Milwaukee not coming back, not motivated. So same thing with the Sixers at the end of the day. So yeah, if I'm
You gotta make
Miami,
Miami.
yeah,
This is your
I'm
time.
doing this trade.
Yeah, you gotta do it.
If I'm Portland, it's a little tough because the pieces are not obviously Tyler Hero has to be the main piece.
Tyler Hero, and then you have like a few first.
Yeah. And then the 3-team doozy was Miles Turner and Peyton Pritchard go to the Suns. Buddy Hield, Cameron Payne, the number 7 pick, and which is Indiana's, and the 2027 first round from Indiana go to the Celtics. And Jaylen Brown and DeAndre Ayton go to the Pacers.
Wow.
So this is more of on a realistic one.
That's like a reach. That's a reach.
This is depending on if Jaylen Brown wants out or whatever the case may be.
I don't think Jaylen Brown's gonna
Like I could see DeAndre Ayton being a Pacer because he was linked there last year, but I don't see like the Celtics being involved.
I don't think Jaylen Brown's gonna move.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
And I don't know how the cap is gonna work. Is the cap the real? Is the cap space real? Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the trades there. And then the last thing, before I ask you a couple of questions about the teams and the draft in general, the trade targets. So these are the trade targets who could be dealt after Bradley Beal, OG Anunoby, which we're gonna get into the Raptors talk. There's the best landing spot is Portland, Sacramento, Memphis, and there's a report today that Sacramento's trying to get Pascal or OG.
That's also like for an upgrade of Harrison Barnes because Harrison Barnes is a free agent as well.
Yeah. DeAndre Ayton, Chicago Bulls, Washington Wizards, OKC Thunder. I could see him on the move as well. John Collins. I mean, I hear this guy in the trade rumors every year. Dallas, Indy, and Utah.
Bro, I'm gonna just say this much. I would be surprised if DeAndre Ayton doesn't get moved in this offseason.
I would be too.
Right?
I would be too. they need, first of all, not even just because like, oh, if Vogel even likes him, it's just how are you gonna fill the roster? He's your only true value. You could get a 2-for-1 for him.
Yeah. So like that, I'll be a little bit surprised if they're not looking to move him.
Yeah. Buddy Hield makes sense. Sharpshooter. Knicks, Lakers, Cavs.
Yeah.
Zach LaVine is also one of those Portland rumored. Philly, if James Harden leaves. Miami and Toronto. We're getting to the Raptors. I'll let you think. Damian Lillard, obviously we talked about Miami, Brooklyn, New Orleans. Reunite CJ and Dame.
Yeah. Imagine.
Kyle Lowry, Lakers, Clippers, Sixers. Makes sense for the Lakers and Clippers at least. Point guard.
Even Sixers hometown,
Yeah.
but it's trade, so I doubt it.
Chris Paul, Clippers, Celtics, Heat.
Yeah.
Same spots we've been saying. Anthony Simons, Toronto. It's obviously linked to that Siakam trade. New Orleans and Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And Zion Williamson, Miami, OKC, and New York.
Bro, like there could this could be like one of the best drafts in recent memory, and it's not gonna be because of the picks. It's gonna be because of all the
Trades.
trades.
Again, how much of it is it going to be we're waiting, and nothing happens? But
I'm
what the
gonna-
NBA has done a good job with when they anticipate something like a trade deadline, it lived up to it.
Yeah, like the last couple trade deadlines were pretty good,
Yeah.
and then hopefully I just have this feeling that some shit's gonna go down today.
Yeah.
And watch me come back from class and nothing happens. I'll be so disappointed.
I know. Before we continue on with the other news that happened, so finishing off with the draft, our teams. We got to talk about the Lakers. We got to talk about the Raptors. So I'll go first because the Raptors, I know, you have to talk a little bit more about that because it's more intriguing. It's like the trade deadline. Lakers at 17 right now. I've seen mocks that say we get Jordan Hawkins from UConn. Other guys like Kobe Arfino, I think is his name.
Yeah, I saw Kobe.
Then there's like another guy too, Jalen Hood-Schifino or guys like that. Like, again, I don't know these guys well. I know Jordan Hawkins because of the March Madness run. For me, the prototypical guy, I want the Lakers. Now, Lakers are rumored. I don't know if they're even allowed to trade this pick because of the stipend rule. Stipend rule. If we are able to trade, I've seen links to again Miles Turner, and Buddy Hield again. I've seen trade package rumors they're targeting, right? Gary Trent Jr.'s in that mold. But for me, it's just, can you get like a shooter, 3-and-D preferably? It's like, I think the prototypical guy, we still have LeBron. You could fit around those guys.
Ideally, what would you need? Because ideally, you would want this pick to be an Austin Reeves replacement, depending.
I don't think we get rid of Austin Reeves.
No, but like, I know he would stay, but like, how much would I feel like a team will offer a big to Austin Reeves,
for
right?
Sure.
So there's a genuine question mark of him leaving and him staying.
My priority list would be still get a 3-and-D wing, or like a 3-and-D player in general. Then probably like an Austin Reeves type player then.
Yeah, but I think he'll stay. Like him personally, now obviously I think you'll offer him. I don't think you're gonna get rid of him.
I mean, I like the Jordan Hawkins pick because he's a sharpshooter. And
Yeah.
that's what you need with the LeBron AD team. So we'll see with that. But moving on with the Raptors, right now you guys are 13th. You guys were linked to like Keyshawn Wallace from Kentucky, who's like a defensive guard. Drew Holiday mold is what people are saying. Names like forgot it, the guy from Arkansas.
Oh my god, I forgot his name too.
I just said his name earlier, but
Was it Kobe? The Kobe guy?
no. I saw his name too.
I saw Kobe link too.
It was
13.
Bleacher Report. Where you at?
Bro, this is how you know we're like lack of knowledge on prospects.
No, I know his name. It's something Black.
Oh, Anthony Black, right?
Yeah, like he obviously in
Yeah,
this
he
case
was
he's
it
going
was
sixth.
11th, right? Or
Yeah.
6th pick, right?
Yeah, so like, guys like him are falling. Apparently, Keyshawn Wallace is
I saw Keyshawn Wallace definitely.
Derek
for sure.
Lively is the second from Duke.
Yeah.
Kobe Buffkin right now.
Oh, wait, for me,
So yeah, give your thing, and then I'm gonna let you go on a rant because I know there's like you have some things to say.
no, I'm gonna try to stay calm. Right.
I'll tell you why you shouldn't be
I know.
staying calm. So
I know I'm gonna try to be calm, but for me, it's gotta be playmaking point guard, ball handling point guard type of thing. At first, I was like, all right, give me like Jordan Hawkins, and I still won't mind it because I will take that shooting any day of the week. But Fred VanVleet being a free agent, and I don't want to give Fred VanVleet 30 million. So then that's what I'm saying. A replacement for him would be just like a good,
Keyshawn Wallace.
yeah, just a good point guard, just a natural point guard.
Yeah.
Good playmaking abilities,
Defense.
good defense, and then if he could score, I'll take that as well. Additionally,
All right, so I'm gonna get you mad now. That's my job right now.
I already know what it is.
People around the NBA expect Raptors to run it back. That's number one. Raptors are reluctant to blow up their roster. They believe that they're not that inferior to Miami, who made the finals. That's number two. Portland obviously linked to OG and Pascal. Toronto remains unwilling to part with OG Anunoby. Jakob Pertl prefers not to be in a rebuilding situation next season, so that means you wasted a pick if you guys do decide to rebuild. And if you decide not to rebuild because of Jakob Pertl, that's the dumbest thing I ever heard in my life because it's Jakob
That
Pertl.
will be the dumbest thing ever.
All right, Jakob Pertl ain't anything
That'll
crazy.
be the dumbest thing ever.
But here's a trade scenario for you. The Pacers, Mavs, and Raptors could engage in a 3-team deal that would land Raptors multiple firsts, including the 7th overall pick, Buddy Hield going to Dallas, and OG going to Indiana. You're telling me if that was actually offered you and Raptors don't accept, how pissed would you be?
I would be mad because I've said it many times. Raptors need to rebuild. The point you said about Raptors and Miami.
I'm gonna cut you off. I'm gonna let you go on the actual rant. I'm gonna say this last thing before you go off. You just saw Boston go to the finals a year ago, and this past season get out in the second or third round, right? They made moves. They just added Kristaps Porzingis. They're already a title favorite if they didn't make any moves, right? You saw Phoenix on the other side, same thing, making moves. So for me, I don't get how Masai thinks that the Raptors, and I get it, he finessed the trade for Kawhi. So I don't know if he thinks he's a master finesser all of a sudden. And how do you think staying put will help you? Like, that's my point. Like, how is staying put? Miami had Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler is much better than Pascal Siakam as a one option. Okay, so and Miami still couldn't get past Denver. At the end of the day, and it helped that Giannis was injured. You play who you play, so I'm not taking away any credit. And then on top of that, you have a new head coach who they believe that could either rebuild or could put this team over the top. I don't think your roster right now could put you over the top. But anyways, I'll give you the floor for the next bit.
All right, first point. You are a similar mold to Miami. That's the report, right? Was that the report?
I'll read it.
They believe that like they're similar to Miami. They're not that much inferior to Miami.
Yeah, the Raptors don't see themselves as all that inferior, if at all, to the Miami Heat, who have made to the 2 NBA Finals in the last 4 years.
All right, point one. Last 4 years, Miami made year one. Miami made the finals in the bubble. Raptors got out in the second round. Okay, it's still like a decent run by the Raptors because it was a game 7. Year two, yes, Raptors were in Tampa. Miami still made the playoffs. They got swept by the Bucks. Tampa Raptors landed a lottery pick. Got Scotty Barnes. Obviously, it worked out a little bit. Year 3, Miami 1 seed, conference finals, 1 shot away from the finals. Raptors got lucky. We got a 4-2. Like, the best thing that happened in that playoff series is that we didn't get swept because we were losing. This year, this team made the finals as an 8 seed. Your team blew a double-digit lead against the Chicago Bulls. So, what way do you think your teams are similar, performance-wise?
Fred VanVleet might even just leave this team. So, like in the offseason for nothing.
Yeah, so what ways do you think your team is similar? Ever since, basically, the championship run, the first year in the bubble, I would say that was a decent year, right? Especially after Kawhi leaving. But what Miami did and what you guys did are nothing similar, performance-wise. And Miami's roster stayed pretty similar throughout.
Their coach is the same for like over a decade.
Yeah, and your roster stayed same throughout. So how do you believe that you are not inferior to Miami. It is clear that you are inferior to Miami.
See, now the funny thing here is that before the Kawhi trade, what was this team? It was a perennial playoff team, but like a second round exit.
Yeah, it's not even that team anymore. This team is not even a perennial playoff team, in my opinion.
But
Like what?
my point is, Masai made that big move. So what makes you think that? And
We-
that big move was Kawhi Leonard, who arguably at that time, even right now, you could argue when healthy, is a top 5 player in the NBA. You don't have a top 10 player in the NBA, right?
Like, available
Yeah, like right now on your roster.
on our roster. We didn't have that in before too.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Like
until we
you
got
traded
Kawhi.
for Kawhi, and then when Kawhi left in free
Yeah, so
agency,
no.
and
think
what
of-
makes you? That's what I'm saying. What makes you think that you're not that much inferior to Miami?
don't because with this roster, unless you could think you could pull off something.
The only team that did something without like a superstar player was the Detroit Pistons from 04.
Yeah, but
The 2011
that was 04.
Yeah, the 2011 Dirk
Is
was
still
a superstar.
Dirk is still sick.
At that time, and then this past year Jokic, and he still had a solid team around.
Yeah.
Like we had an argument of a 1A 1B Murray, right? 1 and 2 option. So, yeah, no, I agree with you. I think so you're saying that Pascal Siakam should be traded. They should have traded.
Okay, I'm gonna say this much. You know the DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Lowry team, right?
Yeah.
That team is better than this team we have right now. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Right? Because Kyle Lowry was still good enough. Kyle Lowry was better than Fred VanVleet.
Okay.
That Kyle Lowry was better than Fred VanVleet. DeMar and Pascal leveled out a little bit. I would argue Pascal was a little bit better because Pascal these last 2 years has actually Pascal had good seasons these last 2 years.
No one's
Like
saying Pascal's
it was
a bad
all
player.
like both seasons were all NBA caliber.
But if you're saying Pascal Siakam's the number one in this
But
league, you're a
he's not
mistake.
your number one. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's what he is in 2019.
Yeah.
He's the same player as
And that was
these last 2 years. He's been the same player as 2019. In 2019, he had Kawhi Leonard.
So
Who does he have now?
No one.
Fred
He's the
VanVleet.
number one guy.
Fred VanVleet ain't that guy.
But what I'm saying, like, he was the number 2 to Kawhi. Now he's the number 1.
Yeah, so expect that. That's a jump. Like, who are you better than? You're not better than the Bucks. You're not better than the Celtics. You're not better than the Heat because I just proved why. You're not better than the Cavaliers.
The Sixers.
You're not better than the Sixers.
So that puts you at least minimum 6.
That's playing spot. Hawks,
Hawks,
Knicks are better than you.
on paper right now.
Yes, and especially what they've shown this year. Even though Hawks were a little bit underwhelming, but Hawks were still better than you. The Bulls beat you.
Yeah.
I might even have to consider the Bulls better than you. So, at what do you think? Like, how do you think that you are a contender when the Bulls beat you?
Yeah, no, I agree. So my question to you is, before we wrap it up here, you're clearly wearing the championship shirt right now.
Because I'm in sad times right now, and I said that during championship times, like, I will be happy. Like, this one will just make me happy for the rest of my life. But
Oh, for sure, the championship's a championship.
yeah, championship. So, like, even if we don't win another one, but obviously once you win one,
You're a fan.
once you win one, you want to win more.
You still want to, yeah.
Yeah. And then,
so
like, it's just frustrating.
back to that
It's
loyalty-
frustrating because it's reminding me of the Canucks.
Yeah.
You're rolling out the same roster again and getting the same result.
Yeah.
You ain't going anywhere.
So back to that loyalty talk. Pascal Siakam, trade him at its peak. Depending on the package.
He's gonna get you something. He will get you something.
Like, okay, and then OG Anunoby. He's relatively younger, but he's like what, 26, I believe.
He will get you something too. Like, OG is a great piece.
So your team trade OG. If Fred walks, your team trade OG. And
Bro, I want Fred to walk at this rate. I'm disappointed that we didn't trade Fred at the deadline.
so
Like, all these moves saying that, oh, Pascal might get traded deadline, Fred might get traded deadline. What'd you do? You added Jakob Poeltl.
So OG's gonna be 26 in July.
Yeah, you added Jakob Poeltl. What the hell did Jakob Poeltl
If
do
he
for you?
walks, you lose a first round pick there. Considering if you go into a rebuilding situation.
Yeah, so like what the previous year you made the playoffs, so I want to argue that you bought like that young trade. You gotta get rid of Gordon Dragic, right?
You still wasted a pick.
You still wasted a
You could have
pick.
just bought out
Yeah.
Gordon Dragic for that 1 year.
So I wouldn't bash that one, but this one when you were freaking clearly in a play-in spot or battling not even like for a 7-8, a 10, you're battling just to be in the play-in, and you freaking added Jakob Poeltl thinking that he's gonna freaking turn your season around. I don't understand that.
And you have Otto Porter, who you could still trade as well, technically.
Like
As-
the fact that you did, I said this before. I was saying this now. There's missed opportunities. That Kyle Lowry package would have been much better if you did it at the deadline. There would have been a package for Fed VanVleet.
Yeah,
I think the Lakers could have offered something for Fed
yeah.
VanVleet, right?
We were at talks, but again, like there were reports that people are frustrated dealing with the Raptors because of Masai.
It's frustrating right now because you missed like this. You wouldn't be in this situation if you executed the Kyle Lowry properly and just taken the deal, whatever it was, because I think there were decent packages still. And if you traded Fred VanVleet at the deadline, you'll be in a much better position right now because right now you're in no man's land. I
Yeah,
don't know if you're going. Well, for me, obviously, is rebuild. But looking at you, it's like your rosters ain't like bottom five or bottom like 11 to 15
yeah.
in the conference, but you ain't top six. Top six is a playoff spot.
Here's the thing. Last thing before we move on. I agree it should be rebuilt unless miraculously Giannis becomes available, which I doubt, or something like that, right? And even then, you gotta like give up pieces to get pieces. But if you do trade Pascal and OG and whoever, Otto Porter, whatever, you're gonna get picks. Obviously, you're hoping the third pick, but I still think that's a lot for a guy just for Pascal. Maybe you had to package Pascal and I don't know who else on your roster, like a Chris Boucher or something. But you guys could easily become the OKC Thunder if Scotty pans out. If you guys do get the third or fourth pick, and one of the Thompson twins or Scoot Henderson, whatever is your main point guard, you have Malachi Flynn who has potential. Is just can he finally get the opportunity, which you will with a new coach, hopefully, right? So for me, it's like yeah, rebuild. I don't know, Raptor fans, you guys could discuss below, rebuild or be that whatever happens in the playoffs happens mentality, right? But let's move on.
Realistically, yeah, I'm say one last point. How often is the 18 gonna make the final? Not often, right?
Yeah.
And Raptors are 18 at best. Yeah, but
Okay.
move on. Yeah.
Okay. So last question for you. I'm gonna go back to the Beal thing quickly. Suns or Nuggets right now? I forgot to ask you last time
Oh, that's tough.
because those are the
But
two
I'm
teams.
going with Nuggets, man.
Still, you still need to wait
You still need to wait,
for
right?
the
Like,
Suns roster to pan out.
is it what the Nuggets shown?
Because here's the thing, and then last thing, Celtics are their favorite out of the East. That's gonna be the title of this video essentially too. So
Yeah, I think Celtics are the favorite.
yeah, no, I think so too. Because now let's move on. Because the reason why we're saying I'm thinking the Celtics are the favorites right now, and I'll ask you that question. Players opted in and out. Opted out deadline was today, which is why the Porzingis trade was a key thing to happen today. So some key players, first off the bat, this news broke in during um the Porzingis trade was Chris Middleton is opting out of his $40 million player option, so he's officially a free agent. Woj did say that he's trying to um, they might work out a deal. It could be like maybe 35 million over like however many years, but if the Bucks lose him, there should be a play for Dame Lillard, obviously, or whichever wing becomes available. Paul George, for example, who's engaging. So that's one opt out
Yeah. Surprised he opted out of 40 million.
after an injury year too.
Right, like it's kind of tough to say no to 40 million, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
unless you're getting like guaranteed like 120 for the next like 4 years or something.
and the Bucks been like it's been Holiday, Middleton, and Giannis, and that's how they won the chip too, right?
Yeah. Um, moving on, Bruce Brown has declined, so that's why I asked you the Nuggets Suns, and there's looking like that the Nuggets are not going to be able to bring him back, and so he was a key piece of the championship. He was part of the pretty much the 7, 8 that played.
Yeah, he was. I said it like I said in the playoff run. I was like Bruce Brown being on his team gives me more confidence in the Nuggets.
Speaking of the Nuggets, because of this, as the Nuggets prepare, according to Woj, prepare for a possibility of losing Bruce Brown, the Nuggets made another picks trade. This time, they will be drafting at 29, 32, and 37. So they're looking at they picked Christian Brown at 21 just for reference last year, and you see how he performed. So this is a chance they could either package the picks to get someone who's available to replace Bruce Brown, or they just develop someone. So the actual trade that was that. One second, let me just quickly pull it up. It is. It happened earlier. Oh, this Porzingis isn't on timeline right now.
Bro, too many news, too
Yeah.
much news. I mean, it's draft time obviously makes sense, but I don't feel like in these recent drafts we gotten this much news,
Yeah. The
right?
Denver Nuggets are trading 2024 first round pick and 2023 40th pick, so the second round pick, to the Pacers for 29 and 32. So that's essentially the second pick in the second round and the second last pick in the first round, right? Again, they could find gems. They did it with Christian Brown.
There with Jokic.
Even like again, actually no, I won't go back to that. But yeah, so that's another trade that happened. Obviously, very minor. The next player that opted out, Kyle Kuzma. So yeah, he's looking to go. He's looking to get 30 million apparently, but he'll only get that from like a rebuilding team. So
Yeah,
there's that. This is a big one. Before we finish it off, Draymond Green has officially opted out of his contract. And Mike Dunleavy, new GM, has said they're working to get him back. I think they need to get him back. He is that heart and soul of the team.
the fit is just so perfect.
Yeah.
Like people who probably don't watch as much, they'd be like, "Oh, what the hell does Draymond Green does for a team?"
Yeah.
But when you actually
You
like
see
when
it
you
in
look
the
at his numbers,
playoffs.
right? But when you
Yeah.
look in the play, when you look at the game, the amount he does for Curry and Clay is really irreplaceable.
It's just the antics that are like brutal. That's all it is. Like the antics, yeah, and that's annoying. But as a player,
Who has a
they need
better
to work it.
Who has a better curb stomp, Draymond Green or Seth Rollins? I would say Draymond Green.
But yeah, for me, he's obviously he could be linked to. If he's looking for a payday, he might be linked to go back to Detroit, mentor the kids there. He obviously he's good friends with LeBron. I don't know if we're able to pay him what he's looking for, but if I'm the Warriors and if I'm Draymond, it's a match made in heaven. Might as well retire a Warrior, right? Because like as long as you have the three of them and you build and Wiggins, you build around them, you guys are still championship contenders, right? Just fix your away record from last year, and you'll be fine, right? Last one, going back to the Raptors quickly, and I was a little surprised about this one. This is not an opt out, this is an opt in. Gary Trent Jr. has officially opted in, $18 million contract. They're working on a long term deal. He's only 23, 24 years old. So
Like
this is the one Raptor. I'm like, you know what? If there's a massive trade out here, trade him. If not, he fits the timeline of Scotty and
he
whoever
fits.
else he drafts.
I like his game. It's been inconsistent. Uh, I think like obviously when looking at the roster, he fits as a six man.
Yeah,
But as a Raptor, as his Raptor tenure was since he got traded, he produced better as a starter.
yeah.
So now with Fred VanVleet going on, obviously he might have more of a starting role depending on whatever
This is
changes you make.
it's a win-win situation. If you can't work at a long-term deal, you could still trade him.
And
cheap
he's a
contract.
valuable.
If I'm the Lakers, I'm calling. I'm gonna try to get him.
Bro, what?
3
He was up there in steals, he led in deflections, and he could shoot the three ball. Obviously,
and he could shot create too, not
and he
just
could shoot create.
not
Yeah,
catch and
shoot create. Shot create, yeah.
Yeah.
Because he makes like step back threes, step back shots. Like he makes off the dribble like pull up shots as well.
Yeah.
Issue is he needs to be a little bit more efficient.
All right, let's move on off the NBA. I think that was a good like hour, and so
Well, I mean,
there's a
obviously
lot to talk about. It was like
It's
an
draft
NBA heavy
time.
show.
It's draft time.
Yeah.
It makes sense. Today's the draft, and
All
it
right.
might. I'm telling you right now, I might jinx it. I might not. Right, whoever comes back in this moment, this NBA draft will be the best draft in recent memory,
In terms of not the draft itself, but the trades.
just including all drama.
All right, clip that. But
I'm gonna be like completely wrong.
let's
now.
go to quickfire before we go to soccer because that's the only other big topics. It's just not gonna be as big as the NBA. Soccer first off, quickfire. Let's go to the NCAA. Sticking with basketball, college basketball. There is a 3-game suspension for head coach, former NBA star Penny Hardaway. He got 3 games for recruiting violations. Just going through this quickly. To begin the season for violations committed in 2021-2022. In the midst of the season, Memphis coaches participated in 2 impermissible in-home recruiting visits with the prospect during his junior year of high school, according to a decision released by Division I Committee on Infractions panel. Hardaway's 111-52 record, former Memphis alum himself. I don't know. This NCAA shit, it's bullshit to me in general. Like just the corruption. They're finally paying NIL. Like imagine what guys like AD back then, like big time college guys,
Zion.
who else is there in the football side? Like Johnny Manziel, like as a college athlete, was big.
Jimmer Fredette.
Like these guys would have been making bank, right? So obviously, thankfully, the
And
NIL
obviously,
's
like
there.
all those like.
I don't know how this violates something. This was 20 because the NIL deal started in 2021. I guess this is like
Yeah, I know.
you can't meet the player at
Yeah,
junior
yeah.
year. So
But,
I don't know the details too
but I'm
much,
just like
but I'm just reading
comment
what it
a
was
comment
there.
about the NIL thing because like imagine all those players that like you know how like there's players that pop off in madness but like don't really get drafted,
Yeah.
right? Like those players would make a lot of money too, but obviously they missed out on the opportunity.
All right. Moving on, the NHL. Surprisingly, we're not talking about any big news in terms of trades and draft. That's next
That'll be
week's pod.
next week.
But the Hall of Fame has been announced. The nominees, inductees, not nominees, inductees. Also, heads up for the NHL, the awards are next week, which is weird because it's been so long.
Right? Yeah. I honestly like lost track. I was
Forgot
like,
about
bro,
it. Yeah, I'm like, did they
I was
happen?
like,
Did it not happen?
Did McDavid win MVP already?
Yeah. So here are the inductees. Henrik Lundqvist, obviously best known as the Rangers. Uh, Key accomplishment: Olympic gold medal, Vezina Trophy.
Yeah, obviously accomplishments ain't there, but like he is he deserves to be there.
Pierre Turgeon, center, don't know much of him, but Team Sabres, Islanders, Canadians, Blues, Stars, Avalanche. Key accomplishment: 1327 points. Mike Vernon as a goalie, I've heard of him. 2 Stanley Cups, Conn Smythe. So it's a goalie year this time. Last year was a Canucks inductee class, but
Yeah.
1982 to 2002, Red Wings, Sharks, Flames, Panthers. Tom Barrasso, another goalie as well. 2 Stanley Cups, Vezina and a Calder. Caroline Ouellette, Canadian woman, 4 Olympic gold medals. Ken Hitchcock as a coach is getting
Yeah,
in.
Ken Hitchcock.
He's getting in. Stanley Cup and Jack Adams. Pierre Lacroix, executive. And he's also in. So those are like the bench spots. My question is, how the hell did Alexander McGillney still not make it? I'm gonna look up his stats because I was listening to Halford and Bruff and they were mentioning that this should be the year they make it. Now Mike Halford did say, like, I don't know who he was referring to. There was like a guy that the reason why McGillney's probably not getting in is because he might not attend it, which is complete bullshit. Like, he doesn't seem like a guy that will attend the draft, but
Doesn't seem that
because he missed
okay.
the Buffalo one.
What do you mean
Anyways,
Buffalo? What do you mean Buffalo?
like the Buffalo Hall of Fame because he also played for Buffalo, but that's the Buffalo Hall.
It's
Of
the NHL. It's a hockey Hall of Fame.
Okay, so his national team was the Soviet Union and the Russia, and he obviously played. We know him because of the Canucks, but we never watched him play clearly. But we've heard stories like him and Bure and stuff like that, right? He is a Stanley Cup finalist. The other guy I named was not a Stanley Cup finalist. I made it, and
Yeah.
this is not discrediting the guys who made it. This is just making a case for that McGillney should have made it a long time ago. Okay, he won Olympic Games in 1998. He won gold as well. Okay, his career stats, total points with the Canucks. He had first year with the Canucks, 55 goals, 52 assists with 107 points. First year with the Canucks. He finished off with his NHL totals in 990 games, 473 goals, 559 assists. He was over 1,000 points as well.
So you're a 1,000-point player, a Stanley Cup finalist.
47 points in the Stanley Cup winner as well.
He won one
it
too?
with Florida. No, Florida, New Jersey.
Okay,
New Jersey.
so he's a Stanley Cup winner, a 1,000-point player, and a gold medalist.
Yes.
Henrik Lundqvist is a Vezina winner and a gold medalist.
Gold medalist, yes.
All right, so I'm not discrediting Henrik Lundqvist because
we're not discrediting
but I'm just
anyone.
saying the case is like the accomplishments wise, there is enough there. Clearly, there's enough there.
Yeah.
Because there's obviously similar, like Henrik and Daniel Sedin. They're just what, a thousand.
If anything, McGillney deserves it more.
Yeah, 1,000-point players, Stanley Cup finalist, and each having a heart, and the right.
Yeah. No, I think Daniel didn't get the heart. He got the 10 Lindsay.
Okay, yeah, but like
The other
they
MVP
each
one.
they each won an NHL award,
Yeah.
like a big one, and then they're a 1,000 points player.
And then he also had a story of like something happening with the Soviet Union. But yeah,
That's one for sure.
McGillney's
There's
been,
one that I thought of. Obviously, McGinley. I've been like hearing that for a while. I'm just saying with all these goalies, right? One name that popped up on my head was like Curtis Joseph because I think he is like one of the. I'm pretty sure I saw it on SportsCenter. Like he's one of the few. I think he's the only goalie not to make the Hall of Fame with 450 plus wins.
so the guy whom Pierre Turgeon made it, again, deserved. I'm not saying anything like that. McGillney was named twice at the end of season All-Star teams. Like all in NHL, I guess.
Yeah.
Led the league in goals once. Also changed the game by defecting from the Soviet Union is baffling. So it's not even just like Hockey Hall of Fame is not just NHL; it's international success and what they have done to the
Yeah,
game.
clearly Lundqvist.
Yeah, and he won the cup with New Jersey. He was the first player that I saw with a quick wrist shot release. That's Naslin defending him. So yeah, I think there was a year that no one made it, and he still never made it, which is weird. But yeah, I don't know how long he's been getting snubbed for. I'm trying to find that, but
I mean, it's been a while since if he was playing in '94.
yeah, like he retired in the early 2000s, like in early to mid. Oh, he wrapped up his career in 06, so it's still a while.
Well, it's been like 17 years.
Yeah, so get McGillney in, like how Weber was missing out.
Yeah, like McGinley obviously won. Like I said, Curtis Joseph was because that's having 450 wins is insane, right? As a goalie.
He's been eligible since 2010.
Okay, yeah, that's
He will
actually,
remain eligible for induction indefinitely. So
bro, that's actually madness.
he's been snubbed since 2010.
It's been 13 years with that those
It's a
many
small group
accomplishments.
of 18 committee. I don't know how it works, but yeah, every analyst has shot Craig Button, Frank Saravelli, Greg Wyshynski from ESPN. Everybody says McGillney should be in. He should be in.
like,
Dude, I'll tell you why McGillney should be in. My dad knows him. Our dad knows him. Our
Bro.
dad knows either stars or guys who fight. That's
yeah, right.
it.
He knows Mac.
And he was not a fighter.
He knows Powell Burry
And Gino Ojic.
and Gino Ojic. He remembers Matt Cook still.
Yeah.
and
Marco Rutu and these guys.
Matt Cook is a fighter.
So yeah, McGillney should be in. Hopefully he gets it next year. I guess we'll come back in a year's time and see what happens.
and we'll
Last
be doing
thing.
this, having the same conversation.
Yeah.
Hopefully not though.
Last thing, cause okay, but sorry. Before we get into that, every year there's gonna be new first ballot Hall of Famer eligibilities, right? So like, how often can you really? Are they really propelled ahead of them? So that's the point there too. But anyways, we'll end that one there. Last thing, MLB All Stars second round voting results. Let me just pull that up. They're in. This is headlined by Blue Jays again.
I don't know how.
It's voting though, so
I know it's voting, but like, it's BS that those many Blue Jays are in.
Why can't I find this? It was
I
on
don't
this
think it really
yesterday, right?
changed. I know it's like the same infield. It's like still Guerrero, Simeon.
Wait, moved to second.
Went moved to second, but it's Guerrero, Simeon, Bichette, and Chapman. The outfield's like Trout.
So yeah, it's still Rutschman, Guerrero, Simeon, Chapman, Bichette, Judge Otani. From this, I think Bichette out of the Jays, the only one that should be making it is Bichette.
Bichette.
Second and third, nothing crazy from here.
It doesn't matter. Second, third.
Mike Trout.
Otani's DH, and then
Yeah,
Mike
Brandon
Trout.
Belt, it's rigged. He's just
Belt
joking.
is joking. Yeah.
Yeah, so nothing really much changed from last time. But again, from the NL, the leaders are still Murphy, Freeman, Ruff, Arias, Arenado, Arcia, Acuna, and JD Martinez, who's killing it, I guess, over there.
Who was the second and third outfielders for each?
Bryce Harper somehow.
And
Durnall.
Travis D'Arnaud.
Yeah.
And
You
then
know
for,
more baseball than me, so I'm gonna
and
rely
for-
on you here.
then for AL.
Otani, Belt. Sorry, no. Judge, Trout, or Rosarina.
So Rosamond, I think, is.
He came in to third. I think someone fell out.
Wait, who was it again? Say it again.
Judge, Trout, or Rosarina.
Yeah, Rosamond came in. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, so there's that.
I think Lourdes Gurriel was in last time, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
he
and
fell out.
I think
I think Harper came. or
Harper
Durnall
came in. Yeah, because I think D'Arnaud was still there.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Soccer quickly. Transfers still going on. Rumors, everything happening. First off, Chelsea's on a fire sale. They've been like selling everybody. So first off, Kai Havertz has not officially signed, but like there's an agreement in place that he'll be going to Barcelona or Arsenal.
And it's like 60.
60 plus 5, so 65. 60 plus 5 add-ons, right? 60 mil plus.
So
5.
65.
So that there's that move. Kovacic is going to Man City.
And Havertz is a good player. Like, yes, he wasn't like Bayer Leverkusen Havertz in Chelsea, but Arsenal is still getting like a quality player. He could start. He could come off the bench and everything.
Next up is Mateo Kovacic, who is moving to Man City.
Probably reason being because Gundogan
Which
is
we'll
going
get
to
into a second.
is going to Barcelona. So
Yeah.
I just feel like that's like replacing Gundogan.
Okay.
He might not be as good as Gundogan, but that just like how City are. They're always just adding illegally or legally. We don't know about that.
Yeah. Next up, it's Saudi bound guys. Conte's officially signed.
Yeah.
Koulibaly, Hakeem Ziyech,
Ziyech, okay.
and the goalie Mendy.
Edward Mendy.
Yes. So those are the
So Chelsea is going with Kepa in that. Eh? I mean, Kepa did play more this season.
yeah. So it's
Edward
funny.
Mendy is good too. Like
It's funny.
decent. Edward Mendy's decent actually. He's not. I mean, Chelsea was a shit show in general, so I can't even say anyone was
It's
good.
funny because like Chelsea fans were like, oh yeah, we got Havertz now. Havertz is a bomb. It's funny how like Chelsea gives up their players to rival teams. And speaking of rival teams, Mason Mount, personal terms are agreed with Man United. No, they want 60 plus 5 as well, but he's made it clear that I ain't signing next year. So it's either get something for me or I'm leaving for free. So we'll see. It's pretty much gonna happen. But we
And
don't know when.
that's like it's a good pickup because that's like a Ericsson replacement because Ericsson obviously was injured and got fatigued, so like him and Ericsson will be just like swapping,
Yeah.
like they'll be just replacing each other.
Manchester United, don't get me started with that. Figure out the ownership ship fast, because you shouldn't be selling Zidane Iqbal for 1 million when guys like Roma Lavia went for 12 mil. I don't know how Leeds were dumb to pay 30 mil for Dan James back then, but they were. So the fact that we got rid of
Bro,
James
like
Garner
like
and
Zidane,
Iqbal,
Zidane Iqbal, James Garner, so much promise,
yeah,
and we got rid of him for nothing.
like 1 mil. We have a sell-on clause, great, like what,
Well, what?
25%, but whatever the case is. But yeah, I don't want to. The podcast already long enough. I don't want to go on a rant.
It's not. It's just this is a draft day.
Yeah.
Focus.
So you mentioned Ilke Gundogan is going to Barca. So we'll see. They have a midfield of Frankie De Jong, Pedri, Gavi, Keshi, all these guys down there.
I don't know if they could afford, but
Oh, and then Declan Rice second bid is also rejected, but again, similar to Mount, it should be getting close. There was a report that maybe Man United could swoop in with a McTominay, Maguire plus cash deal, but I doubt that will happen.
I think McTominay and Maguire might like drive away the deal.
Yeah. But yeah, the deal over there is close. Rafael Guerrero has joined Bayern Munich on a free.
Another
He's jumping ship.
Dortmund player joining Bayern. That's a shock.
Yeah. And then Di Maria is returning home to Benfica, where he's kind of made his name.
Oh wow.
So the reports are there is getting done over there. Let me just double check if I'm not missing anything. Before I know Southampton hired. Yep, Southampton have hired Russell Martin, not the baseball player, as a new head coach on a 3-year deal. So I don't know much about him. I know Russell Martin, the baseball player.
Good luck in championship.
Yeah. And then last thing before we close it out, actually I'll double check some transfers, but Mourinho got 4 games for his antics after the final with the ref situation. Probably deserved.
Yeah, I mean, like obviously he was pissed off, and can you blame him? No, but at like in everything, bro, there's a limit to something, and once you cross it, you're gonna get punished, right?
Yeah.
And then he probably crossed that limit, and you got punished. 4 games of like it's the only Europe competition, right? Or is it?
The Europa competition, yeah.
So he's okay, yeah.
Oh no, 4 games. I don't know if it's. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's a Europa competition, like Europe competition.
Let me see if it says it on that article that came out quickly. UEL banned for 4 European matches.
Yeah, so
wherever
European.
they're playing at, I think it's Champions League this year.
Yeah, maybe.
Let me just confirm that. I don't want to give false info. Italian Serie A. No,
They're in Europa. Or I think
they're in Europa Conference League. I think.
I think they did bad in the league, right?
Yeah, they did bad. So never mind. Either way, he's missing European games, whether it be Champions League or Europa League or Conference League. Before we close out, let me just double check any news, any breaking news might happening. No. Oh, Ruben Neves is going to Al Hilal. He's also joining Saudi.
Yeah, I think we mentioned that last time too.
Okay, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it sucks because there were 2 times where
Bernardo Silva's also linked. So
yeah, but I'm just saying there's 2 episodes where we're like so close of getting because we want the breaking news live.
Yeah, it's
right,
like okay, fine. The news happened in the morning, great, whatever. We got something to talk about. Okay, then the news that it broke that it's not happening. I'm like, okay, but I had a feeling it was gonna happen still, and it happens right before, like 45 minutes to an hour right before. But
and there was another situation, right, where like I think it was a Kyle Dubas where we're like talking about Kyle Dubas,
and the
next morning, right before we upload.
All right, just because you mentioned that,
Kyle,
let's just go to Woj's Twitter and Sham's Twitter and just see.
Just a double check, right? Just like But the thing is, we're
No,
not
he's
up.
still talking about the Samora Porzingis 3-team deal.
Yeah, I mean, there'll be a day where we get live news,
I mean,
right?
we do film late, so that's the problem.
That's true too, right?
Um,
And we do upload the next day, but other than that, I don't know. It's tough.
yes, nothing with Shams as well. So yeah,
Was
big
there
news.
any other situations? The only one I could think of was like Kyle Dubas getting hired the next morning,
What's his name? Well,
and
it
then
wasn't
there's this
official.
one.
Our second pod. Bob Myers was reportedly leaving, but it wasn't official till like a weeks later.
Oh yeah, that one's acceptable. That was like a week after.
Yeah, but anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. Obviously, a lot of NBA coverage makes sense because of the draft. If you're Raptor fans, if you're Dame fans, Zion fans, any fans of the sport, what do you guys think of the thoughts? Let us know down below.
And also enjoy draft day. And if after the draft you want to leave any thoughts and comments down below, like saying, let us know if your like team got a WL, right?
Yeah,
So like, if you're Portland fans, Dame fans, Raptors fans, which for me I feel like it might be an L, but
yeah, that's pretty much it. Please like the video, comment, and subscribe. Please tune into our audio platforms as well if you prefer to listen audio, and give it
and
a 5-star
also
rating if you enjoy it.
also shout out to the Audi guys. Thank you for showing love because there's a lot of people that download from the USA. We got some Brussels downloads as well, right?
Yeah, we have some people from Belgium.
Thank you
We're
for
going
that.
international.
Thank you for the support for there as well because right now it just sounds like we're giving the YouTube guys love, but we shout out to you guys too for downloading the podcast as well.
Yeah, my one buddy that listens on Spotify. Shout out to you.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. We'll catch you guys on the next one.
Peace.